So yesterday, as Meghan celebrated her 45th birthday, another usual suspect, this time a broadsheet, but to me, they are no better than a tabloid. There's no difference in the UK anyway. But this broadsheet, the Telegraph, they ran a piece on her evolving personal style. To me, that's a bit disingenuous because Meghan's style has always been, the same. But I'm going to give them a teeny tiny bit of concession because at least they're trying to be nice. So again, they ran a piece on her evolving personal style that refreshingly engages with actual documented fashion history rather than their usual manufactured nonsense. So a particular stylist called Louise Pennington, she made observations and she describes Meghan's current wardrobe as built around consistency. Okay, I'll give her that, rather than statement. And she spoke about the fact that Meghan's wardrobe is minimalist, high-quality pieces. Really? Okay. Minimalist, high-quality pieces chosen to remain relevant years from now, rather than chasing a single dramatic red carpet moment. Okay, Louise. Okay, Louise. Let's keep reading because there's always a sting in the tail with these people. But anyway, I think Louise, what she stated is a genuine, defensible read on someone's style evolution, and she credits Meghan with intentionality rather than treating her fashion choices as accidental or copying. Yes, because Meghan don't copy. But I know some people, they will try and dig and they will try and say otherwise. But we know that Meghan definitely does not copy. She remains true to herself. So now, like I said, there's always a sting in the tail with these people, and it's to be expected. And this is the wrinkle and this is the sting in the tail. The article frames her current wide-leg trouser preference as a recent departure from an earlier skinny jean era. Here's the thing. Meghan has worn both forever. She's worn both skinny jeans and she's worn both wide trousers. Now, the person who literally started copying Meghan was the other girl. The other girl was famous for her jeggings. She wore them everywhere, and occasionally she reverts back to them where you can tell maybe when she's needing a bit of, comfort, or she wants attention or whatever, she reverts back to her jeggings. So this is purely the other girl, Louise. I completely disagree with you on this. So the actual record for Meghan is that she's worn many different silhouettes over many years, including a stretch when wide-leg trousers, when she was wearing these wide-leg trousers and she was getting abuse, daily abuse, until the other girl also started wearing wide-leg trousers. In fact, we remember a time when the other girl was all coat dresses and big buttons. And like I said, the other girl also reverts back to that fashion when she wants a bit of controversy or when she wants to be talked about. And in particular, somebody literally did a 36 different occasions where she's literally copied shade for shade, silhouette for silhouette, fabric for fabric, her dead mother-in-law, the late Princess Diana. So miss me with the wide leg trouser bit. I knew there was going to be a sting in the tail because you can't trust these people to write a straightforward, honest narrative. But anyway, at the end of the day, Meghan was getting a lot of criticism for the wide leg trousers, and at the end of the day, they were just trousers. And the narrative of a single, tidy, stylistic transformation is cleaner to write than the messier truth. The messier truth is that Meghan has moved between both styles, and she was abused for wearing wide leg trousers until the other girl decided to copy her. And even in my on the Clock app on my profile, you would see many videos that I've done where Meghan does it and then the other girl does it, because the other girl even went back into the archive and copied. I mean, there was nothing she didn't copy except maybe Meghan's skin. But anyway, this is what I felt about a piece like this existing at all. Because when outlets choose to cover Meghan's actual documented public appearances, for example, her Paris Fashion Week debut, when she was wearing Balenciaga, iconic images, iconic. First the white, then the black, the audible gasps, unbelievable. When they cover her gala appearances, her revolving wardrobe choices, rather than manufacturing useless crisis narratives, the coverage is actually good. When they tell the truth, essentially, the coverage of Meghan, when it's truthful and factual, the coverage is good. When there's no crisis and no controversy, and they're not putting words in her mouth and they're not imagining, she said, everything is pretty straightforward. So I feel that it's actually a choice as to whether they want to cover her honestly or whether they want to tell a bunch of lies. And many media sources and papers might find that they will get more engagement if they choose the path of honesty rather than lies, rather than making up things that never happened, all because they want those clicks. And I think there's something about the hate for click complex that is, I don't know if it's me. I think people are getting fed up of it, and I think I wouldn't say it's coming to an end, but more people are choosing to walk away. Even the worst derangers are saying, you know what? We've been fighting this battle, this one-sided battle, for 10 years against a woman who is just moving on with her life. And isn't it time we moved on? And you find that now some of them are saying, you know what, I'm not going to engage because I'm not going to. And you're like, really? So I think maybe honesty could be the best policy for at least papers like the broadsheets that pretend to be real papers, right? Papers like the Telegraph, or maybe the once respected Times. But then again, I think it's interesting, the timing of this article, because this piece landed in the same window as coverage crowning, right, a different woman as best dressed. And the instinct is to immediately set the two against each other. But this article resisted it. This article couldn't even say, well, compared to her sister-in-law, because they know that's not true. Because they know any comparison they make will make if they decide to praise the other girl against Meghan, they know they will be lying. And as a stylist, and I say this, well, actually with every disrespect, as a stylist, I don't think there's a stylist out there that goes, I'm going to dress you exactly like the other girl. I don't think there is. I don't think there's any fashion-forward, modern, stylist that looks at that style and goes, that's it. However, they will look at Meghan's style and go, that's fashion-forward. And you know how I know that? Because even the other girl's stylist was copied Meghan for her own personal website, copied Meghan's looks, Meghan's branding, Meghan's typography, Meghan's poses. And as you know, I've said this several times in different videos, she was caught following a lot of Meghan's inner circle on Instagram the day she made her Instagram public. So to me, I know the stylists, I know which royal lady the stylists would rather follow, copy, emulate, use as inspiration for their mood boards. And it certainly ain't the other girl. But anyway, the article resisted the urge to compare the ladies. That could be a sign of growth. Or maybe it's just a one-time thing and the Telegraph are going to return to usual scheduling tomorrow. But in the meantime, we will take this very tiny and very small win for what it is. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the author of The Luxpreneur, and for more insights like these, please like, share, comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And to support my work in holding truth to power, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Elizabeth Solaru, or you can get a copy of my book, The Luxpreneur, from Amazon, Waterstones, or Barnes & Noble.